Guys, welcome back to the Rise and Grind podcast. We're here with episode 2, following the success of episode 1. Obviously, you already know me. I go by the name of Mr. Muller, and we had to go and get a special guest for episode 2. This is another person that he doesn't even need an introduction. Do you know what I mean? You should just know who it is. But do you want to just let the people know who you are?
Yeah, man. So I'm Aaron Wiggins. Entrepreneur, storyteller, media man.
Yes.
However you want to call it, bro.
So, Aaron, do you want to just talk us through then what it is specifically that you do, and then just let the people know how you got into doing all the things that you do?
Wow, it's a broad question, bro. So I'm in the media. I run I'm founder of a video production, a media company, We Media. We do video production, we do development, co-founder as well of platform LOTV. But yeah, man, background as a video journalist, started on that journey, sort of had like a beginning of wanting to be like a presenter and a news reporter from young, so I always wanted to be that guy that was like on the corner, like, we're here today. Like, and then sort of studied that at uni, went on that journey into the mainstream media and stuff, and spent some time in like local TV, and then walked from there, and just went on the journey, sort of self-employed journey in video production, while I was still figuring things out, while I was still like figuring out my purpose in life, and I came to realize that, like, one of the reasons why I'm here is to, like, because the media needs changing, you know what I mean? So, like, the focus is very much on bringing light into the media, and, we could talk more on that anyway.
Yeah, that's perfect, bro. So then, do you want to just break it down for the people then? What was it that initially made you go in towards media? Because I know personally, just from back a day, just through knowing you through family, I know you was a baller in school, so you could have been right wing playing for QPR and them things. But what
that
is
was
it
the dream, bro.
That was
the dream, bro.
What specifically made you then just want to go into media?
Now, you know what? Jokes aside, yeah, like obviously, as you know, played football from young, but it was never really. I was never really good enough to play professional in it. But it was a significant part of my journey because it was through having an interest in football. That was my first introduction to the media came. You know, seeing like players have interviews. Like, obviously, you know, we got a cousin Jamie, and when we grow up here, like, he would tell you that we'd play football and I'll be interviewing him at the end. So it's just mad how you're a kid, and it's like the birth of what you're born to do is kind of in you. It's always in you, innit? So when I got to about 13, 14, I knew that, like, if football doesn't work, like, I want to do some kind of reporting, be like a reporter. So that was kind of where, from that age, I knew that, I want to take this journey and go into. It was initially sports broadcast journalism that I wanted to do. And then when I got maybe to like 16, I knew, you know what, it might not just be sports that I want to do. And this is the thing, innit? Like, you're almost exposed to little parts of your purpose as life goes on, innit? So I knew that it was in that field. Yeah. And then when it got to, like, when I was at uni, and sort of after that, I was like, I really want to pursue this, presenting. I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with, and obviously my journey at uni is where I started to learn the production side of editing and filming and that kind of thing. And I just knew that my journey was linked to that. Do you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that was kind of the origins of where it began. And yeah, man, it's almost like as time's gone on, I've started to see more and more and more of the bigger picture in terms of what it is that I'm here to do. You get me?
That's perfect, bro. It's interesting hearing it come from your mouth, because obviously looking from the outside, I kind of seen the journey going on, but because I always feel like the person that almost writes the script as you're going along with the journey, it's more interesting coming from your personal perspective.
Yeah, man.
So educate me then. How do you then go from having the dream of obviously being like a sports interviewer to then setting up your own companies and becoming self-employed?
Good question, you know. Good question. So yeah, so taking it back to like 2017, I was working at a place called Made in Birmingham TV. So it's a local TV channel, and I was what's called a video journalist, which is where you basically, it's like being a reporter, but you're the camera operator as well. So you're doing both in it, and going to shoots and stories and reports by yourself. So you shoot, capturing stuff, but like the reporter too. So and this is why it's a beautiful message behind the story, in the sense of when things happen that seem like bad, they can actually be the birth of something amazing that's to come. So around, I think that's probably about 6 months into working there. Long story short, like you have like a probation period. I was on a probation period, and then it got to like the 6 month mark, and we had like a meeting about like, it being permanent. And I think we had like a change of management, so they extended it for like another month, yeah. But I was basically like, I feel like I'm deserving of like a pay rise. So they were like, if you prove to us over the next month that you're deserving of a pay rise, and that you can. So for the next month, bro, I grafted hard. You know what I mean? Like,
as you do.
went in as you do. Got to like the meeting. So this is like the July now of 2017. I had the meeting, and they're like pointing out all these things that I've not done. But it was like bizarre to me, because I was like, I've been doing everything I can.
It's like they've almost shifted the goalpost, innit?
Bro, there's basically that 100%.
Yeah.
And obviously, in retrospect, I understand why, because they were going through severe financial problems, and the company was going to end soon. You know what I mean? But they was just trying to find a reason just to keep me on probation a bit longer. But obviously, in my head at the time, I'm thinking, I've done everything I can. They're more times going to get rid of me. Like, so that was when I started to think, you know what, I need to think of what I'm going to do if I'm no longer here. And it was clearly God's plan to birth what was to become, because that's when I started to think, you know what, like, maybe I need to do something on the side, just in case. And obviously I was familiar with cameras, and like, a close brother of mine, and now business partner Simon Capel. I remember he's an actor, so him and I had a conversation, and he was like, bro, I need like show reels. Like, I could do the show reels. It's hard to get show reels in Birmingham and this, that, and the other. So I was like, bro, like, I've got a camera, I can edit. Like, I'll just film a show reel for you. And I remember editing his show reel and being like, yo, we could just do this, like.
Yeah.
So that was
the light bulb moment.
It was like a light bulb moment, bro.
Yeah.
And that was the birth of where I had the idea of independently doing videos. So around that time when that meeting had happened, I always remember, bro, like, this is why I say, the deep visions are already in you. It's just about being exposed to them. Yeah. And when you're seeking it, it starts to become clearer. So I always remember I was literally a few weeks after that meeting had happened, where they were like, they're going to extend my probation a bit longer and that. And I was just resigned to the fact that I was probably going to leave. I remember, like, it could only have been God, bro. Like, a vision just went in my head about this logo, and it was like a camera, and it was a W and an M, but it like represented like almost like light coming out of a camera, and I was like, yo, that's the logo for Wiggins Media, and that's where it was birthed. So started this thing called Wiggins Media, and at the time it was just music videos. You get what I'm saying? And so while I'm still working at Made, I was doing like music videos. I remember doing a music video for this artist called Muller S. Big up Muller S. And that was like my first ever music video. It's still on YouTube now, I think. Called Out from 6. Went on P1 when I was gassed. And yeah, like, and that was the beginning. It's ironic because I don't really do music videos now, but that was like the beginning of that, and obviously the show that I'd done with Simon. And that was where the journey kind of became. And then I ended up staying at Maid for several months after, and it got to like the December of that year, and yeah, like they fell into financial problems, and we all got made redundant. But on the back of, because it had been started like 6 months before, I was like, you know what, I may as well just try a thing and just give this a go. And yeah, so started it pretty much the January afterwards. And yeah, I'll be real with you, bro. It was rough. It was rough, man. It was a rough period for like a good 6 months where, like you got you got bills to pay. The bills don't change, but the income does, and you got nothing coming in or hardly anything coming in, but you still got those bills to pay. Yeah, it was a mad time.
So then, sorry to interrupt you. Then talk me through how you sort of dealt with that. Then, because obviously you've made it quite clear from that it's gonna be a hard sort of transition going into that self-employed route. And like you said, the income may change, but the bills won't. So then you would have obviously experienced some sort of hardships and obstacles during that time. So talk me through that.
Do you know what? Yeah. And this is, I'd say this to anybody who's thinking about going on that journey. Obviously, I was made redundant, but if I'm honest, there was a bit of pride in me as well. So there was a part of me that was like, well, I want to do this thing in terms of going self-employed, and I'm just gonna just, you know what I mean, I know I can sell videos, so I'm just gonna just go ahead and do it. And because of, and this is me being fully truthful, like because I've been doing TV and stuff, I was like, and I've been made redundant. I was like, listen, ain't nobody gonna have that power over me to be able to tell me like you no longer got a job. But it was probably the wrong approach to have, because in retrospect, it would have been wise for me to just have like, a job, even if it was in a different field, while I was building, Wiggins Media. Because the thing is, when you start out, one of two things can happen. I mean, don't get me wrong, it can happen for you quickly, but it wasn't the case for me. So what was happening was, like I say, business was slow. There wasn't really much coming in, but I'm under pressure to not only make money, but I'm under pressure not only to try and grow and build a business, but just to make money, just to make ends meet. So there was nothing coming in, but alongside that, everything that was coming in was to pay the bills. Yeah. So there was, what it was doing, it was kind of stagnating growth, if that makes sense. Whereas if I was a little less prideful and I took a job initially, even if just to steady the ship, could have helped to help build things up and not just take anything. Like don't get me wrong, things happen as they were meant to happen, but I definitely say that like in making that transition, it's worth having something to come in so that you can actually build the business, build yourself up, as opposed to, and there's nothing wrong with having a job. Like while you're on the journey of being an entrepreneur, like you'll get to that place where what you're making is you'll make more from the business. But if it's in the initial phases, it's okay to have a job. And eventually, after about a year, the reason why I say it as well is because it probably slowed down things, but eventually things started to pick back up again. But yeah, it was tough, bro. I'll be real, like it was tough. Good 6 months weren't making anything, and accounts just in minus, bro. And I was newly in a relationship at the time as well, and yeah, as a man going through that, and you
additional pressure in it, bro.
All kind of pressure, bro, and you really believe in what you're doing, but then you start having doubts, and you go for all kinds. It was a mad time, bro. It was, yeah, man. That was my first experience of like depression, like real depression, like. But at the same time, it was the beginning of the strengthening of my faith. It was like when you're in that situation, you got nothing else to lean on. You start thinking, God help me, and you know what he did. You know what I mean? He did. Eventually, things started to build, and I suppose when you're passionate about something, and when it's what you've been called to do, and when you've got a gift and you're focused on refining the gift, money and business just follow suit. You know what I mean?
But it's like my mom used to say to me all the time, bro. You've probably heard it yourself, but like God answers prayers, man.
He
So,
does,
like,
man. He
especially
does.
when you're going through hardships, and sometimes you just gotta pray and just like ask Him to deliver you out the hard sort of transition that you're going through. But
100%. And you know, on that point as well, like it requires both. Like it requires it's not all on us, but it's not all on God too. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a partnership. Do you know what I mean? And so if I was at the time just praying and not without trying to put things in place. But what I've learned over time though, alongside that, is that he's the source. Do you know what I mean? And the focus has to be going deep with him to understand what it is that he's supposed to do, because he's created us. He knows what we've been called to do and can guide us with that. Sometimes it's easy to pray and then try to do our own thing. You know what I mean? But it's about developing that relationship to understand what it is that we're supposed to do, and then working that, and then he'll provide.
how do you deal with hardships and obstacles?
Again, like I say, it's almost like my default position where I just go back to the source, bro. Because hardships they come with a journey. You know what I'm saying? Been through fair share, bro. Different types, different challenges. I've been down at that journey of being a man and being like, yeah, I got to just deal with this myself, and you know what I mean, and just firm it. But it can just lead to added destruction, and it, like, you know what I mean, I've learned to lean on one that's bigger than me. Do you know what I'm saying? And understand with that through doing that, it helps me to understand why I'm having to go through certain things, and why it's part of a greater purpose. And I always remember someone said something to me that I think is powerful, that, like, as a boxer, for example, sometimes when he's in the ring, he might catch a shot, yeah, and he just has to just take the 8 count. You know what I mean? Let's just get under one knee and take the 8 count, and just be like, you know what, it's fine. I'm gonna just reset and come back. That don't mean that he's out the fight. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. Certain times, like in those hardship moments, it's almost like a case of just stopping, resetting, and just being like, you know what. And for me, it's a case of resetting and leaning on the one that's bigger than me. And like I say, like the river, bro, he's the source that pours in again. Do you know what I'm saying? As opposed to me just being a reservoir and just trying to just rely on myself and have no source to refill me. And you know what I mean? So yeah, that's the biggest thing.
That's great. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, both personally and professionally?
Just continue to grow in who I am, bro. I've come to understand who I am specifically over the past like 18 months. I've understood my purpose and vision probably a bit longer than that, but in terms of who I am, and it's so important to understand that as well, to help shape what you're meant to be doing, or understand what you're meant to be doing. Like, it's knowing who you are, and it's just growing in that, growing obviously with media. There's plans over the next 5 to 10 years of where we need to take it. It's a lifelong mission that we're on, and it's just about just going from strength to strength and growing. Okay, so returning to the mainstream media, and just having a greater impact in terms of what the mission is, what we're here to do. That's the big ambition over this next 5 years, definitely.
Mm-hmm. If you could like be remembered for one thing before eventually, we go into the higher power land, what would that be?
Someone who has contributed to building an infrastructure where media comes out and into the world, that really helps people understand who they are, helps people to be educated, helps people to be empowered, helps people to be encouraged into walking into their God-given purposes and visions that are on their own lives. through the content that goes out, through our films, through our documentaries, through our shows, through our news, and for our, the actual content creators that work with us, the journalists, the actors, the camera operators, the filmmakers in general, like that they understand their responsibility to not only just tell stories, for example, but tell stories that make the world a better place.
Okay, then I'm gonna hit you with a little bit of a hard one then still. What's a lesson that you've had to learn the hard way?
There's a few. Like I say, pride being a big one. Like what I was touching on earlier. Like, I probably slowed down the process for me by trying to being like, yo, I ain't going to a job. Like, I've been on TV. Like, I can't be working a job. Like, I don't have to just. And that was pride, bro. When real wisdom would have been like, it slowed things down. Things happened as they were meant to, but it slowed things down. Another lesson, like I say, I wasted a lot of time trying to just go off my own, just do things my own way instead of leaning on the source. Do you know what I mean? What is it? And what am I supposed to be doing? Other lessons I've learned over time is that I learned that the vision that I have is bigger than me, so it requires for me to be willing to do things, but it's not just about me. Like the decisions that I make, they impact other people.
100%.
So not just making decisions just to satisfy me for the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's certain sacrifices I have to make because it benefits the team around me. It benefits those that are to come. It benefits those people who are the passengers on the plane that I'm the pilot of. Do you know what I mean? And I've had to learn the hard way with that at times. So yeah, they're probably the big ones that spring to mind.
Go on then. Let's get more into the background of Mr. Wiggins then. Like,
Let's do it, bro.
what's one thing that people don't know about you? Like, I feel like I know a lot in it, but like at the same time, because like every book, yeah, you never know if you might have just missed a little page and some stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So,
I don't know much that you don't know. I can't really think of much that you don't know. But I was born in London. Maybe that's one that people might not know. Moved here when I was like 7. Had a benign tumor in my leg when I was like at the same time.
how do you feel like that impacted your life?
It was my first introduction to how no matter what the circumstances are, if you're meant to do something that you'll be able to. I remember being like, as we touched on earlier, and this is why I say football was almost like a foundation for me to understand things for the rest of my life. Football was my life at that time, and so I had this major operation to remove a tumor out my leg, and I couldn't walk. And I always remember I was at my auntie's house in London at the time, and being upset, like, because it kind of felt like I would never be able to play football again, innit? And there was a determination in me that I was like, I got to do this. So even though the circumstances didn't seem as though I could do that, I did. Do you know what I mean? And my football journey actually started really after that. Do you get what I'm saying? So it was the beginning of me understanding that, like, even if things seem impossible, even if things don't seem like the circumstances are working with you to be able to do something, like, if you're meant to do it, if it's what you've been, if it's something that you're passionate about, like, that nothing will stop you other than you. You know what I mean? Like, I know, even though I might not have known at the time, like, it was like God's hand was over me to heal from that, and that was the foundation of that. So in this journey now, there's certain things that to us sitting today don't seem possible to be able to do, but I know it's what we're here for. So that was the beginnings of that, and I had to go through that to understand that now. Do you know what I mean? So that was how it impacted me.
Thank you for sharing that, man. I appreciate that. I can't imagine having to go through that myself. So, I feel like hardships like that from a young age kind of just shapes you to be a man moving forward. Do you know what I mean? If your life then, based on everything that you've had impacts you, if your life could be turned into a movie, what would you what do you think the title would be? See, I told you I'm coming with these hard-hitting questions.
Bro,
I'm making man think.
You
You know?
did say. Man, I feel like I need some time for that one. I'd probably say it would be priest or mediator. Probably the one.
I like both of those.
Yeah.
Why specifically those two?
They're both associated with who I am. The mediator one is second thought. Obviously, that's what the mediator is the connection between the output and the consumer, or the source of the output and the consumer. So, like the mediators, it's what the media is. Do you know what I mean? It's the communication between the person who's trying to get a message out, or the source where the story is to the audience. You know what I mean? And that is what a part of who I am, and that's what it is that we do. You know what I mean? What would yours be? Growth, you say?
Growth, you know.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like I've had a lot of things in my life that have happened, that have changed how I look at life, and also how I'm perceived. Because over the past 12 months, especially, I've had a long battle internally, where I was trying to work out, kind of almost like what you said, like I was trying to figure out who I was. Do you know what I mean? Because if you was to ask 10 different people their opinion of me, I guarantee the majority of them would probably all be different because of how I'm perceived to them. Do you know what I mean? The beautiful thing about being an actor, is depending on who I'm talking to, or depending on what side of me I want to show them. Do you know what I mean? So like my family and my friends, my close people, you all see the purest form of me. Whereas like if I'm at work, I'll show them what I want them to see. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of how I navigate through life. But then the cons of that is sometimes you can get a little bit lost of figuring out who you actually are, because so many different people have a perception of you. Do you know what I mean? So I've just literally been working on the past 12 months, just trying to merge all of these me's together to figure out, okay, what do I actually like to do? Who do I like to actually engage with on a regular? What do I do for fun? What are my hobbies? What are my dreams, my aspirations? And that's kind of why I've took the approach now, is I'm just doing what I feel like I'm called and chosen to do, which is how the podcast literally came to life. You know what I mean? I'm a big waffler, and everyone just...
You got something to say, bro. You got something to say.
I can tell you firsthand now, every single one of my school reports has loads of potential, chats too much, easily distracted, just like distracts so-and-so and so-and-so. So I was just thinking, bro, clearly I'm a waffler. Clearly I chat too much. How can I monetize off this? And how can I put a message out there that I want people to actually, consume and take in that's positive? So,
you make some key points there, it's like using, like, who you are, like, and this is the thing, like, school, so many amazing things about the school system, but sometimes it can try to shut down our areas, or make us suppress them, if they're seen as negative. But who you are is linked to who, like you say, you've been called to be. Do you know what I'm saying? And one thing about you, bro, there's two things with you, bro. Like, one of the reasons why you inspire me is because I know your story, and I know the journey that you've been on, and you could be very different in it. Like, the fact that you have just somebody that's ambitious, that wants to make the most out of life and do great things in life. Your story could have been different. Do you know what I mean? That was a choice down to you, bro. Do you get me? And obviously, maybe you should be sat here one day and you can give that the story with that as well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because I think it will inspire a lot of people. But alongside that, you've always reminded me of myself, in the sense of there's a lot of areas that you're drawn to in it. And one thing I've realized over time, because I always remember, I'll tell you this quick story. I remember being on a panel. Someone else who inspires me, as we're talking, things are coming to me. Someone else who inspires me is he's been like a mentor of mine over the years, Daniel Alexander. And I remember being on a program. It's where I met T, actually. It's actually the backing program, Punch Records, and I was part of this amazing cohort, yeah. And I always remember we were doing a panel. We were like, it was like, I forgot where it was. We were doing a panel, and all of us who were on the cohort were sat there, and they were asking us all, what is it that we want to do, like with our, it was like a filmmakers program in it. And I'm trying to explain that, like, an area of presenting and, creating films and documentaries. And I always remember, the guy who was running the panel said, kind of just dismissed it, and he was like, "Oh, you don't know what you want to do," kind of thing. And it bothered me in it, because I was like, no, it's not that. And what I came to understand is that, obviously now understanding my journey in the media, they're all just parts of the whole vision. Do you see what I mean? Because all of them are relevant. And the reason why I say, remind me of myself, because I know that it's similar with you. You obviously got the music, you got the acting, podcasting, just entrepreneurial mind. I know you've had clothing lines. Like, they're all linked to, like, who you are and what you've been called to do. Do you get what I mean? That's why you have those gifts and those creative talents in all those different areas, because they're all part of what you're here to do. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I encourage you to just keep walking in that, and that you got my support, bro. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it, man. You've been a big inspiration for me, especially like through my late teens, bro, because as you mentioned, there was certain stuff going on, and without getting into it right now, but yeah, you know my journey and stuff like that. And I feel like the thing that I needed, especially when I was younger, is I needed a little bit of guidance from an older male. So that's what I say now, bro. Like, the big reason why I have this entrepreneur vision is from you, because prior to it, nobody could tell me when I finished school that I was not going to be an actor. Like, my mom sat me down numerous times. She was like, "Nah, you need to find a job. Like, what if it don't work?" And it was in this year and out this year, I was going to be an actor by force, until I just sat down and I was just watching you and all the links that you'd networked with over the years. And I was like, technically, I don't actually have to be an actor. That's just one option that I can do, because there's so many other things out here that I'm now intrigued by. Like, somewhere in the future, I'd love to write a script. Do you know what I mean? And this is all stuff that I've just picked off of watching you throughout life, bro.
Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. And that was your vision in terms of being an actor at the time. And guess what? You've been an actor in films. Do you know what I mean? And in different things, and like everything that you declare, yo, I want to run with that. Do you know what I mean? That's what you will do. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So
100%, man. Well, we've reached that part of the episode where we're gonna hit you with what I like to call the quick fire round, bro, and we're gonna close it out. But these are just quick questions now. Like, you don't have to answer quickly, but like the first thing that sort of pops into your head, just give me an answer based off that. So boom, if your life had a theme song right now, what would it be? I'm getting like Nipsey like tunes playing in my head right now,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All my life, been grinding all my life.
Exactly, bro.
Sacrifice. Aaron paid the price.
Exactly. Like that.
Yeah, that would probably be one of them. I put my right hand to God. That would be another one.
Sound like you're ready for the booth, bro.
I know, innit? I know, bro. Get me in the studio with you and Manny, bro.
Yeah, man. Whenever you're ready, bro.
And a song I like. Give me oil in my lamp. May my light never be dimmed.
I'm gonna clip that.
But yeah, but what about you? What would yours be?
It would have to be one of my own songs, which I haven't released yet.
Okay, it seems to bring me in some of your new music, bro.
I've got about 150 tunes now, bro. Like, I just haven't dropped it. But,
I can't say that I put my block on now. I got everyone.
You already know the slogan, man. You know the slogan. People know. If you're from Wolves, you know that slogan. Yeah, I've got a tune called More or Less, and quick fun little story time based on this. Whenever I'm in the music motion and I'm writing, right, especially with certain songs, I'll get this addiction where I can't stop until it's finished. Like, I'm just in that motion in my head where I won't stop, especially if it's like a deep tune. And this More or Less tune, someone said to me one time that I need to expand my music catalog and talk about my actual life so I can relate to more people. So the tune more or less is literally about me and the hardships and struggles that I've had to overcome in my life. And I stayed up, right? I started writing this song at like maybe 10 p.m. And I stayed up till 5 a.m. in the morning finishing it, knowing that I had work at 9. Do you know what I mean? But I was that stuck in the motion where I literally couldn't stop. Do you know what I mean? And still to this day, every time I show it to certain people, I can just tell that they're really listening because they don't say anything. They don't give me feedback until the song's finished. Because it's one of those ones where what I'm speaking about and the rhyme schemes that I've used and the punchlines and metaphors, some of it might go over your head because it's just me like pouring out kind of like every emotion that I've had into the tune. But that would definitely be my theme song still. It's kind of a deep one.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it, bro. Put me in on that.
It should have been out by now. I've just been procrastinating. I'm not gonna lie, but I'll definitely get it out
that now, bro. I need to hear the song.
No, I'll plug you, man. I'll plug
Love
you.
it.
But what's a weird and unusual talent that you have?
Weird and unusual talent.
Hard hitting question. We make man think on this podcast.
Literally, bro.
You know what I mean?
Literally.
That's what happens with you talented people, man. You got so many to choose from.
Why? I mean, I would like to say a weird and unusual talent is my singing, bro. Yeah. But like, the reason why it's unusual is because it's not that good, innit? But like, I think it's amazing. You get me? That's all that matters, innit, bro?
It's all that matters, bro.
All that matters, bro. You get me? I don't. There's a lot of people don't rate it, innit? But that's on them. That's a them problem, you know, like that.
Exactly. As long as you can get in that shower, bro, and you can sing your heart.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying? I'll even give you a little story time, bro, because until like I discovered what auto-tune was, I'd just sing behind closed doors. And bro, there's one time now, yeah. It's a funny story, but you're not allowed to laugh.
Okay, I'm gonna do my best, bro. I can't make no promises though.
Nah, you're gonna have to promise me you're not gonna laugh still. You have to make eye contact as well while I'm telling you the story, innit?
So I don't tell lies, bro. So you get me?
Boom. I'm showering now, yeah. And bro, I've got Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal playing in it, and obviously. Funny you say that, but I'm probably getting a bit too into it, you know. I'm getting a bit in character, fam. I'm thinking, yeah, let me put my MJ on, bro.
Jeez.
I've even hit the spin move in the shower.
Wow.
And I don't know who told me to do that because as I've hit the spin move and I've gone hee, I slipped in the middle of the shower, bro.
I could have guessed that might have happened, you know,
It
bro.
happened, bro. It was so loud, yeah. My Marjay ran upstairs and she was like, "Are you blessed?" And bro, you know that sound you just made? Ow, no, I wasn't blessed. You get me? The whole left side it was collateral damage and things like that, bro. It was not a good experience.
Bro, the worst experience is for whoever had to come and save you out the shower, bro. Like, that's not something that they really wanted to see.
It's not, that door was locked, and even if I had a broken leg, my mum was not coming in, bro. You get me? She was not coming in still. But yeah, we've all got weird, unusual talents. Mine is, singing in the shower, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I hear it, bro.
I have uncles in that place.
I hear it, bro. Yeah,
But back to what we were talking about. If you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Oh, Jesus. Big up Jesus.
Shout out to Jesus, man.
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It's out of 3 people for this third one, innit? So it would be out of Nip, Bob Marley, or Dr. Miles Monroe.
Okay. Good choice. All good choices. I can't lie. If you could have any superpower right now, what would it be?
Invisible, maybe?
Invisible.
Yeah.
Why specifically that one?
Just because there's things I need to find out, and being invisible would help me to fast track it. Like, in terms of on my journey, like for the journey that I have, things I need to, but those times will come, but it will just help to fast track it, maybe. You know what I mean?
Okay. This one is a very, very important, big question. Do you get me? And I need complete honesty from you right now, bro. Do you know what I mean? Who's your favorite cousin?
Oh my days! Right, the podcast is done.
Who's your favorite cousin, bro?
Oh, this is a tricky question.
You know what I'm saying? Don't worry, man. We won't take any offense around here. It's me, though, innit? It's me, innit?
You know the thing. You know what I mean? You know the
You're not answering the question.
You know the thing, bro. You know the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, I hear that.
Now, listen, I don't have a favorite.
Oh, you're sounding like my mom, blood.
No, I don't have a
I
favorite.
love you all the same, and them things there.
I have favorite parts about my different cousins. You get me?
That's a smart answer.
You get me?
That's
You
a
know what I mean?
smart answer.
You're my favorite. You are my favorite younger cousin on my dad's side. my favorite first cousin on my dad's side. Younger cousin on my dad's side.
You know what? I'll take that still. I'll take that. If you had £1 billion tomorrow, what's the first thing that you'd do with the money?
Ask God what you need to do with it.
I like that answer. That's a good ass one still. I didn't think about that, you know.
Yeah, bro. That's the thing I would do. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What's your favorite film?
Probably Boys in the Hood.
Yeah?
Yeah, probably Boys in the Hood. I like Wolf of Wall Street.
It's a bad boy film.
Goodfellas as well.
You watch Training Day?
I have, yeah. I like Training Day. But yeah, probably Boys in the Hood is probably number one. John Singleton, who created Boys in the Hood, the director, is probably my all-time favorite film director. Yeah.
Okay. What would you say is your favorite childhood memory?
There's a few. I had a good childhood, bro. So there's a few. Ones that spring to mind. Obviously, you know this about me, but I'm a QPR fan, and we won't need to go into that story.
Indeed.
But probably, yeah, those days of like watching QPR and going to QPR soccer camps. Football was a big part of my life growing up as a kid. So, yeah, that was probably those kind of memories are like the biggest ones. Yeah.
Okay. What's the best and worst advice that you think you've received in your life?
The best and worst advice. The best advice was linked to like, don't try and do this journey without God. Probably the worst advice, anyone who's told me the opposite.
That's smart stuff. I like that.
Man.
If you could leave behind one message for future generations, what would it be?
That you have that you were born for a reason. Every single person was born for a reason, and every single individual there's a calling on their life, and not to allow anyone to make them feel as though they're insignificant. And it's about just finding that, like, going to your source, the one who created you, and really understanding that, and you know, find out who you are, and you know, through, you know, patience and, you know, constantly growing in knowledge and understanding, keep getting knowledge, keep getting understanding, keep growing, keep knowing that, like, every day is a learning day. Know that you can learn from anyone as well, older, younger. Be humble, and yeah, man. Like I said, lean on the source, the one who created you, more than anything.
Perfect, bro. So that pretty much comes to the end of the episode, my guy. I can't lie, there was a very productive conversation.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much for coming down and everything like that.
My pleasure, bro. My pleasure. Thanks for
I
having
always
me.
like to do this last thing just as part of the episode, right? Just a little final message from you to the camera. Just anything that you just want to say, just as your final parting gift.
Gosh. Wait, which camera? This one?
Yeah, straight down there, bro. If you just look down there and you just tell them exactly what you want.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Pay attention, everyone.
Pay attention. This is very important. Okay. We Media, we're storytelling specialists. info@we-media.co.uk. But do get in touch. There's a little plug there.
Now, big up all your things, bro, because you know what I'm saying. This is a platform for the people.
But like I say, similar to what I was saying to you, bro. Like, there's a reason why you were born, and to just follow the passions, you know, lean on the one that's bigger than you, and just go all the way with it. Like, I encourage you to go all the way with it, and for as long as you're here, as long as you're alive, always be grateful, give thanks, but know that there's something there's a reason why you're alive. There's something to do. So, yeah, man, just keep walking in that. And like I say, I'm still learning myself. So, every day is a learning day, you know.
Yeah, man, appreciate that, bro. Thank you once again for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, bro. You know what I mean? And
welcome,
and bro,
man.
like I say, like, you're just gonna keep going from strength to strength, bro. So, yeah, man, you know, you got my full support with everything. I'm proud of
I
you, bro.
appreciate that, my guy. I appreciate that. Well, guys, I go by the name of Mr. Muller again. You know, thank you for tuning in.
More mala.
More Muller. We'll be back again real soon. So, you know, thanks for listening, man.